Good evening, Captains. Wizard here. First of all, I would like to extend my sincerest gratitude. Thank you so much to everybody who watched the last video, subscribed, and left comments for it. It was overwhelming, the response that I got, and I can only thank you by giving you more content. So, today I want to go over with you how I made the Basilisk even better. I think those of you who liked the original ship will appreciate what I've done here, and we're going to get a little bit deeper into some of the tuning and customization and optimization that you can do with this ship. And today I'm also including some pretty cool history on the Cabot Bridge, and of course space combat, as well as some spacer encounters. If you didn't watch the full build guide that I put up, the link will be in the description. Highly recommend you go and watch that so you can get caught up on the build of the ship up to this point. I'm not going to be getting into detail about the base build in this video. Today is all about making this ship the best it can be. Now the base Basilisk, if you remember, was built around the SAL 6330 engines. Now after I uploaded this video, I realized that in the save that I had to go back to rebuild this ship, I didn't have the best version of those engines unlocked. We also used a few different core components, and I'm going to show you exactly what I changed these to for optimization and let you know why. We're going to be changing the reactor, the grav drive, the engines, shield, and basically turning this ship into the best version of itself, as well as showing you max cargo and max speed and agility versions. So as a reward for completing the mission All That Money Can Buy for Walter Stroud, and as long as you remain diplomatic throughout that mission, you get an unlock that you would otherwise not even be aware of. Now, they're the same series of engines, they're the SAL engines, but they are the 6830 version of those engines. They each have 1,000 more maneuvering thrust, and each one is actually 10 units of weight lighter, 10 units of mass lighter. Obviously superior. Otherwise, we've got the same weapons on this ship. There's the engines. And then we switched the shield to the 28T Defender. Better regen rate, a little bit better health. The grav drive we changed to the Apollo GV300, mainly for the weight reduction. And for the reactor, I chose to go with the SF40 sheared flow for the weight reduction as well. So you can see now we've got 3750 mass, but now we have 6,000 more maneuvering thrust with this ship. But of course, this got me thinking, with all that extra maneuvering thrust, how much cargo can I squeeze into this and still maintain 100 mobility? So that was the first thing that I did. Grab my cargo units, and by this point I had switched to 4 1,000 weight cargo holds. That's what helped to get us down to an almost 100 mass reduction. Decided to replace all of those with these Galleon S204s, give you 1480 cargo apiece. Another thing that I've done with this ship is I've removed the shielded cargo that was up top. Just kind of felt that I didn't really need it, and I could give myself more cargo capacity if I replaced that other shielded cargo unit with normal ones and kept the two down low. So now we're at 4150 mass, and we're getting an error. Because we've increased our mass so much, we actually need to add some landing gear. Otherwise the ship won't be flyable and we can't leave the builder. So what I'm doing here is trying to figure out how much mass I could add before I start losing mobility. We've gotten up to 4271, and I decided to just leave that extra shielded cargo down there because we can. We've got the capacity for it. All of these would decrease our mobility, so I know I can't add any more cargo anywhere. Now we see if we add 5, we would drop to 99 mobility. So we're up at the very top of our limits for these engines, if we want to keep 100 mobility. Of course, if you're not worried about that, go ham with your cargo. Put as much as you can in there. These are the best bet for engines for doing a heavy cargo build and potentially not being at 0 mobility. So we're just going to keep that down there. Really all I'm doing here is testing. I want to see what this ship at this weight will handle, how it'll handle. And all you gotta do to fix the error, technically, is add 1 landing gear, but I like symmetry, so go ahead and duplicate that on both sides. And now you can see we're nominal. And we only just added, I believe, 4 mass, so we're at 4275, which is literally the max we could achieve and still have 100 mobility. This gives us a total cargo with perks, with max ranked payloads perk of 8,900, a little over. So that's pretty impressive for a 100 mobility ship. But the main thing I'm curious about here is how does overall mass affect the way your ship handles? You can see here's the crew that I've got on my ship right now. I'll go over these each time we test one of these variants that I'm going to show you today, just so I know and I can show you that I've got controls in place for these experiments. Here's the perks I have. Max rank of all of the important ones, and you'll see through the video they don't change. I tried to be as consistent as I could with this test, although when it actually came to testing the ship, it didn't always work out the way I wanted it to. But I think I still can illustrate to you guys what I found out. And correction, I've actually got payloads at rank 3, so your cargo capacity with this perk max would actually be higher than the 8,900-ish that we've got right now with this ship. Now, a couple of things I wanted to mention. Part of the reason I made this video were some of the comments that I received from the last one were talking about whether or not you needed 6 engines, maybe you could do with less, the fact that you could have more cargo. So hopefully by addressing some of your comments, I can help teach you more about Bethesda systems in the game and help you build better ships. So here's what I'm going to try to do with this test. I'm just going to fly to a star yard, and what I'm going to try to do here is at 2,000 meters I'm going to start boosting. At 1,000 meters I'm going to start braking, and we'll see how close we get. About 100-ish now on our speed. We smashed right into the tower. Now this is the max weight build, so remember this when we get to the next one I'm going to show you. The next test that we're going to do is a top speed test. And the way I'm going to do these is get to normal top speed first, which is 202 and then boost. And with max weight we get up to about 575. I slowed that down. I think that's what it hit. Might have hit 580. But either way, that's about where that ship got to. So with that one out of the way, I figured why not try a minimum weight, you know, just absolutely as low as I can get it without changing the rest of the ship. So I'm just going to replace my big cargo holds with those Deimos mid bracers that I have. They're obviously much lighter for the size of the space that they take up, and will quickly give us the result we're looking for. Minimal mass, same engines. We can actually remove landing gear too because we're so much lighter. So we're going to do that just because we can, and we're going to go test this one. But that's pretty much all this one was. Take away your big cargo units and replace them with structural units, or nothing if you can. But again, just to see what a minimal weight build would do for our agility and handling and acceleration and top speed. Just minimal cargo space. Here's our crew. And run through our skills again real fast. And everything's the same. Let's see what this ship does. Now, of course, I didn't do what I should have done here, but I still do the proper test just coming from the other way. So now we're just going to do top speed. And a noticeable difference from this one. We're hitting the top speed of nearly 700. It's actually hitting 696 at the end of the boost period. So now we're going to turn around and do our braking test. Same thing as the first one. I'm going to boost at 2,000 meters and start braking at 1,000 meters. And wow, this ship comes to a stop. We didn't even come close to the tower. That's a very big difference. So now I want to do one that takes away a couple engines, maintains 100 mobility, and gets right up to the maximum mass we can achieve with only 4 of these engines. Now, my thought here is that the mass, just as a number, is what's dictating the acceleration and braking. So what I want to prove or disprove here is whether or not your acceleration and braking is a function of the ship's mass compared to the ship's maneuvering thrust, or if it is simply the total mass that's dictating that performance. Let's pull our cargo boxes out of here and replace those with lighter ones and see if we can get up to maximum mass with just 4 engines. And what I'm doing here is just grabbing the lightest mass cargo bays that I've got available at my outpost. There are other options, but I also wanted these to actually fill up 1 unit of space, so that was part of it too. Now let's get rid of our old cargo units and see where that's going to leave us. Because if I get rid of these, we should hit 100. There we go. We're at 2848, 100 mobility, And surprisingly enough, the ship still has 3,500 cargo. So it's just under the mass of the last build we tested, which was at 2918, I think. And we've got 4 engines now instead of 6. Just threw a couple extra radiators on there for good luck. Hopefully they'll keep those 4 engines cool enough for us. And really what I'm hoping to see here is better braking and acceleration performance with only using 4 engines, so that way we can put less power into our engine. We can put those into our weapons and make them recharge faster. Quick review of crew and skills, and we'll jump back to Stroud Eklund. I messed this one up again. I do the braking test, but I don't boost first, so when we start braking, we're only at the normal top speed of 202. And even though we're lighter, we find out that our braking, at least, is a result of the mass of the ship compared to the maneuvering thrust of the engines that you have. So, total mass matters, but only in relation to your engines. And the top speed that we hit here is 560, which is actually less than our heaviest build. So now we need to find out how the balanced build handles in our testing. We're going to take this ship that I showed at the beginning, and we're going to do the same thing with it. Try to run it into the star yard and do a boost test. And there's an extra one at the end that I'm showing you on this one, which is the reason why I fly this configuration of the ship most. And there's actually a way to make it even better, and I'm going to show you that right after we do this test. Now my perks are still the same. Everything's as apples to apples as I could make it. Same crew, ready to go. And I actually get the boost right here. Just at 2,000, break at 1,000. And surprisingly enough, the amount of weight that was shed from the heaviest build didn't make a huge difference with braking here. It does slightly, but the main reason is its ability to recover from reverse thruster backwards slide. And this ship gets up to a top speed of about 635. So we're somewhere in the middle there. Not a deal breaker. But what I found, which I didn't show, was that when I do the next test with this balanced ship, is that when you go full reverse thruster and come out of it with your booster, if your ship's too heavy, your booster won't even bring you back to 0. And this ship gets you past 0 and back into forward momentum before the boost lets off. And that was the primary thing that led me to choosing this and liking this the most. So it's got a little over 6,000 cargo capacity, but it can still do this. Now, it still takes some time. It's not as nimble as a smaller ship, but you can see it gets us back into positive. And once you're past that, your normal thrusters can get you back up to speed pretty quickly. So this was the deciding factor for me. Well, let's walk through exactly what to change to get you the most optimized version of the Basilisk that you can build, that I've been able to find. Get your grav drive and your reactor out of there. We don't need those anymore. Replace your reactor with the sheared flow and your grav drive to the Apollo GB300. Now really they are slightly lower performing, but the main things are there. Number one, both of these reactors give you 40 total power slots to put where you need to. Repair rate's a little bit lower, but it's got lower mass, so trying to help with that braking and acceleration wherever I can with these. If you don't mind, keep what you got. But I just wanted to let everybody in on this. And different grav drive, basically just to save those 10 points of mass. Virtually the same grav drives, very little difference. Place those. Now the cargo, I just decided to go with 4 cargo bays that each have a capacity of 1,000. So at the front we went to the Polo 2030s, and at the back we went with the Hauler 30T, or 30T Hauler, I guess. Those Polos can be found at Stroud Eklund Star Yard, and the 30Ts can be found at the New Atlantis Ship Tech. Now that's what I like to use. Again, use whatever you'd like. Set this up however you want. This is of course just a starting point for you guys to use as inspiration. Now, I mentioned before that there was one other way we can improve on the ship that I'm going to show in the rest of the combat footage, and that is to increase your rank in the payload skill. I was at rank 3 for all the previous footage. I'm going to switch this to rank 4, and I just want to show you how you can further optimize your ship's mass thanks to this. Now, thankfully I found Havishot behind his plant, and now I know where to hunt him down when he's not at his desk or at the cubicle desk. But either way, we are going to grab our polos out of here and figure out what we can use to lighten this thing up even more. And what I'm looking for here is for the cargo to be just over 4,000 capacity, with a 50% increase from the payload skill. That would give us just over 6,000 cargo after perks, and so far that's all I've found that I've needed, and so that is what I'm shooting for here. So because I like the look of the polo units, I'm gonna mix and match those until I come up with, just over, as close as I can get to 4,000 units of cargo space. I didn't do any testing or evaluation of this. I just wanted to show you that if you really wanted to optimize this and have a good cargo capacity, but very good maneuverability, this is what you need to do. Now, I also took these rear units out because you can see we're 340 units away, so I know if I add another 400 units, I can get to my goal. So I end up putting these Galleon S203s back on, and we're at just over 4,000 cargo. So in the end, I'm probably going to go with something like this. This is probably going to be what I fly from now on. The ship is lighter, the ship is faster, it's set up just the way that I want with just enough cargo, and it's what I prefer. This is the ship that we're flying for the rest of the video. It is not the fully optimized that I just showed you. It's the total mass of 3750 version of the ship that we went over with the 4,000 unit cargo holds of your choosing. Doesn't matter which, they're the same mass. So now I want to show you the ship in combat, go over skills and crew again, and get right into the action. But first, I want to show you a little something that I learned. It's a very cool little fact, I guess you could call it an Easter egg, about our favorite bridge, the Cabot. And basically you find this in a main quest called Unearthed, and it takes you to Earth and to this location, the NASA launch tower. Well, let me show you what I found. It's pretty cool. No spoilers here, but once you get here, you're gonna run into that tower.
I doubt very much we can survive.
I'm gonna cut all this out. I'm not even gonna speed up the footage. I'm gonna save you guys that time. But once you get to this room, I noticed that there is not only several interesting relics from our time of space travel and before, but I also discovered that on this ship there's a very familiar looking bridge. That's the Cabot Bridge, and believe it or not, this was apparently the first ship that had a grav drive that could make grav jumps. So what I think is so cool about this is those of us using the Cabot Bridge, we may have what is the oldest bridge design in the current Starfield universe. First spacecraft capable of faster than light travel. Back to our regular scheduled programming. I'll shut up now. Enjoy the combat.
We're clear for takeoff, Captain. Everyone,
that's what I have for everyone today. Thank you all again for watching, liking, subscribing, and leaving all the comments that you have. I'm going to leave you today with some sweet songs from the Valentine. Cheers, and have a great night.
There was no number high enough to count the troubles I was in. I filled neon nights with women. By day I rest my skin. There was no gamble bad enough to think I would never win. But I wanna go home. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. And go back home again. Always happy to meet a stranger. Home. That's the way of it, isn't it? Space sprinkled with a dollop of afraid my ship's got the next jump plotted. Fair travels.